Okay, so here is the board game Yellowstone. I'm going to run you guys through exactly how to play because there were some questions on this. So here's how to set it up, the basic setup for you. If you want to go ahead and learn the rules, go ahead and fast forward. These are the bunkhouse cards. Teeter, the train station, and Lloyd. These are just easier for us. So we went ahead and picked those. Then let's say we have 3 players. You have got the Dutton cards. These are the character cards. So I went ahead and set 3 down, but at the bottom, your character is going to have a special ability, and you're going to be able to play that on your roll at each time. Each one is different. You're going to set all of the conflict cards off to the side. You're going to set all the skill cards off to the side. On the very bottom of the skill card, you're going to set that conflict red card at the bottom, okay? And go ahead and set that to the side. I'll explain all that in just a minute. Each player is going to start off with 3 skill cards. There's this little red conflict die. That's for that red skill card conflict, but you're going to set that to the side until you need it. To know which gaming pawn is yours, simply look at the top left corner of your character card, and it's going to show you. So Monica is this mountain here. Jamie Dutton is going to go ahead and be the gavel, which we could have kind of guessed that one. And then, of course, Casey is going to be the wolf icon. So go ahead and pick, according to your character, which little gaming piece is yours. You're going to set them all in the center at the Dutton home. That's where every player is going to start. Now, I should explain this. This is a game of strategy, so you're actually all working together. You want to talk to each other about what cards you have, what amounts they're worth, so that you can beat in battle the conflicts before they get to the Dutton home. If you have too many conflicts on the Dutton home at the end of your turn and you can't defeat them, the game's over. You all lose. So it's a strategy game. You all got to work together. Each one of these little cards is a Yellowstone player guide. It's going to tell you what to do on your turn, the actions you can do, and the end of the game. Then on the other side, it's got some game tips, things to keep in mind when playing. These are helpful. Go ahead and set those out, especially the first few times that you guys are playing. Now, so let's go ahead and say that it's Jamie's turn. We're going to, one of his first things that he needs to do is to draw 2 skill cards. He needs to do them in this order. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 skill cards down in his pile. So he pulled 2 luck cards, and we're going to go ahead and set those down. We're going to roll the 2 dice. Now, if you get a W or an E, each one of those means you have to pull a conflict card. If you get the E, you pull it on the far right side of the board for the east. If you get a west, you pull it on the far left side for west. So he got one for the east. He went ahead and set one over there. And if the dice is blank, then you don't have to do anything. You don't have to put a conflict card. You don't have to do anything. If you get the yellow, the little Yellowstone logo, then that means you need to pick, or you get to pick an additional skill card to add to your value. So we're going to go ahead and see if he has enough to actually go ahead and get rid of this conflict card and see if his points add up to do that. Since they don't, we're going to go ahead and play his character card. Now, his at the bottom says discard 1 skill card. So we're going to go ahead and pick which one we want to discard right here. And then we can choose any player, including ourselves, to draw skill cards until they have 4 in hand. I already have 4, but I'm going to go ahead and help my next player out, Monica, so that she has 4 cards. So she got to pick an extra skill card, and now it's her turn because I can't really do anything else. So on Monica's first turn, again, she's going to pull her 2 skill cards that she needs to do. Then she's going to go ahead and roll the dice, and that yellow means she gets 1 more skill card added to her pile. And she's also going to have to pick a conflict card and place it next to the open spot on the east side, which is on the right side. Now for her second move during her turn, she can see if she can go ahead and combat that conflict, if she has any of enough points to add that up. Now she has none of the luck cards, so she's not going to be able to do either one of these. But she can move herself to the bunkhouse and go ahead and play one of these cards. So this is taken to the train station. It's defeat any 1 conflict card. I'm going to go ahead and take this one just so that there's 1 less conflict card off the board. Now, that's pretty much all she can do, so we're going to go ahead and let Casey take his turn. He's going to pick his 2 skill cards. Again, that's what you do on the beginning of each turn. He's going to go ahead and roll his dice. He went ahead and rolled an E and a W, so he's got to add 1 more card to the east side and then 1 card all the way to the west side. Let's see if we have enough points added up to take away any of these conflicts, because again, that's the whole point of the game. You don't want them to build up so much that they get to the very center of the Dutton home. Now, since he doesn't have enough to do actually combat any of those conflicts, he's going to go ahead and move to the Dutton Cemetery. That says draw 4 skill cards, then roll the conflict dice. So he's going to go ahead and pick up 4 new skill cards. Then he's going to pick up that red conflict dice. Now, the conflict dice is just like the regular ones. It's going to have a yellow, or it could be a W or an E. So let's go ahead and roll this here. He has to pick another conflict card, and he has to put it to the west. So we're going to add that next to there. And then he can see if he has enough to actually combat that conflict or if he needs to go ahead and let Jamie take his turn again. So adding up the cards here really quickly, he will have enough to go ahead and get rid of this conflict card. So you're going to go ahead and set that conflict card in the discard pile and then the skills card in the discard pile. Your main goal is to get through all the conflicts. If you run out of skill cards, go ahead and shuffle and restart that whole pile again, okay? So now we are back to Jamie, and he went ahead and pulled his 2 cards. He's going to roll the dice. He's got a yellow, so he gets to pick an additional skill card. And then he also has to pick a conflict card. Let's see which one he gets. You got to put it on the east side. And he's going to go ahead and count up his points and see if he has enough to defeat any of these conflict cards. Now, he has enough to actually defeat this conflict card, so he's going to go ahead and pick that up with his cards and go ahead and put those in the discard pile. This is going great. This is an easy game so far. I'm going to show you how quickly it can escalate into something that's a little bit more harder to do. Now, as the second thing he can do during his turn is he can actually play his character. Again, he can discard 1 skill card and choose any player, including yourself, to draw other skill cards until they have 4 in hand. Since I only have 2, I'm going to go ahead and discard 1 and then give myself enough to where I have 4 skill cards. That's just smart playing, that strategy to make sure that I've got enough to go ahead and start for my next turn. Now, since that was the second thing during his turn, he's done. Now it's Monica's turn. She's going to go ahead and add her 2 skill cards, and unfortunately she doesn't have any luck cards yet, so she's not going to be able to do too much here. She got the Yellowstone, so she gets to pick 1 more skill card, and she went ahead and, since it's the last card, it's the Escalade. So from now on throughout the game, you have to use that 3rd die, which is the red one. This makes it a little bit more difficult because it's only got 1 yellow and the rest are all W and E, so your chances of having to do another conflict are very good. Now, adding that conflict die in there, I'm going to go ahead and roll these, and she is going to have to pick a conflict. She's going to have to put it on the east side, and as you can tell here, it's already building up anymore, and it's going to have to go in the bunkhouse. And she went ahead and put the conflict card all the way to the west. Again, she doesn't have any luck cards, so this is going to be pretty hard to work on a conflict card. So her other options is to use her character or to do a bunkhouse card. So she moved her piece to the bunkhouse, and she's going to go ahead and play the Lloyd card. Now, this one says draw 5 skill cards at the bottom. So she's going to go ahead and discard that one because you only get the 3 bunk cards during the whole game. Once you're done with them, you're done. You no longer get them. It's kind of like a lifeline. So she went ahead and added the 5 skill cards, and hopefully this is enough to get rid of some of those conflict cards that they have building up so far. Now, talking with your other teammates, they can decide which conflict cards need to go first, which ones that the other players will be able to do themselves, and which ones they need help in taking off the board. Because again, you don't want the conflict cards to build up at the Dutton home space. That's how all the players are going to lose rather quickly. So just go ahead and tally up all the points, you talk, you discuss, and you strategize, you work together. So again, it's going to go ahead and be Casey's turn. He's going to go ahead and pick his 2 skill cards, and hopefully he can get some added points up here to help work on those conflict cards. He's going to go ahead and roll all 3 of the dice. And in doing that, he's got 1 yellow, so in 1 blank. So the blank's not going to do anything. The yellow, he's going to get an extra skill card, and then the red one, he has to put another conflict card. Since the east is already filled up, he now has to put it on the Dutton home. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because if that card doesn't get defeated in this round during his turn, then the whole game's over. Everyone loses. So he's got to have enough points to take out that card, which he doesn't. So he's going to go ahead and move himself to the bunk house, and he's going to go ahead and use that card. Now, Teeter says each player draws 2 cards, and then once they do that, they may give up 2 skill cards from their hand to another player. So I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate this here. Each person is going to go ahead and get 2 skill cards real quickly. That way we can see exactly where we're at. And then he still has one more thing that he can do during his turn, because you get to do 2 of the things during his turn. So he is going to go ahead and he's going to go ahead and defeat that conflict on the Dutton home. He has enough points to do it. So he needs so many of these cards. We're going to go ahead and grab these here, add these up. And then once that conflict card is done, the next player still gets to go. The game continues because the conflict that was in the Dutton home is now done. It's been cleaned up. So the game still gets to continue. This is where it gets kind of fun, and kind of you really got to start working towards adding those points and getting rid of those conflict cards. Otherwise, it's going to end really, really quick. So just to kind of give you more of an idea, I'm going to speed this game along exactly how it would go, because you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, you're going to add conflicts back. Again, you have to finish all the conflicts successfully before any of them hit the Dutton home, and no one's able to get them out. So it's basically, again, it's a strategy game. I'm going to go ahead and put this in fast motion here so that everyone kind of see what's going on. And then once someone kind of gets in trouble with all these conflict cards. See how there's built up here? Now, if I'm going to play, I can go ahead and choose to beat any one of these complex in any order. I don't have to beat the one on top first. I don't have to beat the one on the bottom. But the challenge is that during this turn, I have to take out both those conflict cards, because if I don't, then the whole game's over. So just by adding these up, we're going to see where we stand. Now, Jamie Dutton has enough to go ahead and take off one of those conflict cards, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take off the other one. So that is where the game ends, because it wasn't strategically played, and the conflicts got to be too much for the players. And you're all out of the bunkhouse cards, which are your lifelines. So basically, this is where the game would end. And this is the entire Yellowstone game.